right, guys, welcome back to another episode of our Less of a Man podcast. I keep wanting to put a number on the episode, but I gotta avoid that, man.
You up there?
yeah, we up there. We making moves. I want to thank you guys. Y'all threw me what's it called, Dashler party.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for doing that. It was amazing, man. I got a bunch of didn't get the PlayStation 5, but I got GameStop and PlayStation gift cards. But I highly appreciate it. I want to thank you guys for doing that for me.
You know that's not our job, right?
Exactly.
What, the PlayStation 5?
Yeah.
It ain't your job to do any of this, but you did.
You have high expectations.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to act. I'm trying to act y'all wage.
Hey, look at Daryl. The gifts you got are equivalent to the cost of a PlayStation 5. So if you want to go ahead and cash in,
Yeah, that's
go
right.
ahead and get your PlayStation 5.
I'm just saying that I didn't get. All I'm saying is I didn't get a PlayStation 5. That's all I'm saying. But let me start with the mental health check-in. EJ, we always start with you.
Yeah, so no, this week was good. I mean, there's nothing really significant that happened this week. Still be on, or keep my dad in your prayers. We're just trying to figure out what's going on with him. He had a whole bunch of other things that were also concerned. So just trying to stay, abreast of what's happening with my father and my mom, because, this year for them has been already a struggle. But other than that, I was going behind your back and planning your bachelor party secretively.
With my wife.
With your wife, of course, and Shamorg. And Shamorg was no help because he waited until like the last minute. Help. But nothing too strenuous this week. Just doing my thing.
Hey, I got a question. Why can you just call me and tell me to send you the money?
Gosh, that's not even gonna.
Why would you call Shamorg? We literally had a whole text conversation, and then I get a call from Morg. He's like, "Send Edward $30." He said, "Send him $30." I'm like,
is this a part of the podcast? Like, what?
Oh, it will be, because I'm being quiet right now and waiting for my mental.
No, you're not gonna be quiet.
I just text him.
The funny thing about when y'all plan stuff, and it's always when y'all plan stuff away from me, like, and y'all have all these crazy stories about what happened between y'all three and planning this. So go ahead, Char. Your mental health check-in. Go ahead.
So I'll start with the good. Overall, good week. Just really in preparation to start my job tomorrow. So I was filling out a bunch of paperwork, going over and faxing paperwork. Got my new used car. I'm now part of the 60 plus Black Man Coalition of having a Cadillac. Which
Two boys in a Cadillac.
I didn't realize it was a thing, but apparently it is. So like I was getting my hair cut yesterday, and some random 60-year-old guy walked up to me and said, "Yeah, you gotta know how to drive to have a Cadillac." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I didn't realize." So that was kind of interesting to kind of now be part of the stereotypical I drive a Cadillac crew. So I got to figure out how to deal with that, because I really was looking for a car just to get back and forth to work. I really wasn't trying to go for style, class, or anything. So
your new name got to be Pimpin' C, man.
Yeah.
Pimpin' C now.
Yeah, so that's what, yeah.
And he doesn't know how to drive that car, because I was with him and we were literally going in my parking garage and it was terrible.
Dude, on the road, he was going 20 miles per hour. And I was like, what is going on?
I think a 60-year-old dude kind of went to my body, so now I'm driving and acting like a 60-year-old.
That's natural. That's not true. You drive slow all the time.
I do drive slow though.
And he doesn't know how to work it. I was like at one point I said, "Dude, is this your first time ever driving before?" And I was like, "Dude, can we pull over and just let me drive?"
Like, I have to get used to it. So that's the good. The bad is having to plan this party with Edward, because I really tried. I really did. I feel like I did a good job of trying to be patient with Edward, but y'all know Edward have a slick mouth. You always have something smart to say. So that just takes the conversation a whole different direction in terms of dealing with stuff. I feel like I did all the things he asked me to do, but yet it still wasn't enough Then meanwhile, him and Rawdon got this side beef going on, and now I'm in the middle of him delivering messages like, "Can you tell Rawdon this?" I'm like, "Well, why can't you tell Rawdon this yourself?" It's like, so I don't understand. So it was a very interesting having to deal with planning something for you, Daryl, with all the three of us, I guess. But I think in the end, it turned out to be a great event, despite the headache that it took to get to the point of success.
And the problem is, this isn't the first event y'all threw for me. This is the second, and it always ends up the exact same. So, Raw, go ahead.
Wait,
I didn't even know me and Edward had a side beef.
Edward has something to say.
Can I please clarify?
Okay.
So for all of our viewers, as you know, Rawdon and Shamorg are super close. Like literally, they are twins that were never twins, but for some reason now they are like attached.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Like, to give you even more context, like if Rawdon if Shamorg is calling you, he likely will be on the phone with Rawdon and just three-way you in without you even knowing that.
That is true.
Like that's literally how it operates. So the quickest way to get to Rawdon is through Shamorg. So
How?
you don't have to worry about backlash. You don't have to worry about back talk. You don't have to worry about questions. Go through Shamorg, you're gonna get it done, and that's just how it is. So it's easy to operate that way, and that's why I went through Shamorg to get to Rawdon in that way.
I literally text you just before he called me and told me this. Literally, like 2 minutes before Shamorg called me, I was texting you. You could have done it then.
Who knows? You might not have responded. Whenever I text you, you barely respond. So I don't really know what to do. So the quickest way to do that and to be assured that it's going to happen in a reasonable amount of time, Shamorg.
So don't act like you weren't being petty.
I'm petty Betty. That's me. But not at that time. That time was not a petty Betty time.
Okay.
But back to Rawdon. Thank you for allowing me the time to clarify. Go ahead and give your mental health.
Go ahead, Raw. Do your mental health check-in.
My week started off a little stressful because I had to get something done, and I was like, that Shamorg was very, very entwined in. He was very engrossed in my job this week.
I was invested.
He was very invested.
I was like, what? He was your partner? Like,
nah, he was very invested in my job this week, man. You know, had to give him updates like every day of what was going on.
Just like Edward said. So Edward was on par with saying what he was saying. So go ahead.
No, you see, I didn't say anything when Edward said that. Okay, I didn't say anything. But anyway, yeah. So, that was the beginning of the week, and then the end of the week was pretty fine. Man, it was a good week. Now I'm clear and good, and ready to go to Vegas next week, and no stress.
You're going to Vegas?
Yeah, I did know. Yeah.
What are you going to Vegas for?
He mentioned
Danny's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Listen.
No, I don't. So with my mental health, it started off real hectic for me because it's literally, we recorded our podcast last week, and then I go out and my wife was like, we gotta go to the hospital, and she's feeling super pain. We had to go. So as soon as we stopped recording, we went to the hospital, and we thought that, like, I seriously thought they were going to deliver the baby then, because they thought she maybe had appendicitis, but found out she didn't. And so now we're just waiting in the hospital. And we're waiting in the hospital. We had all day Saturday, and then Sunday, they was like, we're going to do an ultrasound, and then we're going to let you guys go. Ultrasound was done at 11. Doctor didn't come back to almost 6 o'clock that evening and just told her, hey, just take a Tylenol, y'all can go. So I'm hot. I'm missed, because I'm like, yo, it took 7 hours for you to do that, for you to say that. So, and then when I realized what I'm in the hospital is, us males got it hard, man, during pregnancies. We got it hard, and we are the silent victims, because I can't express how hard I got it.
Ooh, Lordy.
In the hospital, nobody care about me. Nobody brings me food. I sleep on this hard couch. I am a victim. And I want to be, and then I expressed that to Shar, the stuff that I was going through. And you know what his response was?
Suck it up.
Nah, she was like, well, she's carrying your baby. Her body, like, that's always the response to anytime I say what I'm going through in this situation. It always goes to her.
I'm gonna have to Kanye West you right now. Like I know you got the mic and all, but I'm gonna need you to not go down this road.
Just stop. Stop
Please
while
No,
you're
and
ahead.
no, I'm not want to stop. This is the travesty that I can't express what I'm going through without being attacked. That's toxic masculinity right there. That I can't be attacked. And the funny thing is, wait till y'all go through it. I wanted to do an episode on it. Maybe not you, but wait till one of them go through it. I wanted to do an episode on it, but then it would just be 3 of y'all attacking me. And so I was going to wait. I'm going to wait. Raw's about to get married. So when he starts a family, we'll see. And then you'll be on my side once it happens.
Daryl, I would suffer in silence or just
That's crazy.
Have a fight, maybe have a fight club group where y'all can just quietly go into a basement and just complain.
Why we got this podcast now?
The Key and Peele episode where the guys were just talking and they like in a field just kind of giving their own.
Why we got this podcast and we can't express? This podcast was supposed to be about what black males go through, but this is a off topic.
I mean, you can do it if you want. Go for it.
Because y'all won't jump in with me.
You can do whatever you want, but remember, there's consequences to your actions.
I'm just saying that it's still stuff that we go through during. I'm not saying it's on par, and I'm not saying what they don't go through is hard. I'm just saying it's still stuff that we go through.
Oh, yeah, touche.
And I'm a victim.
You go in the room,
and I'm a victim.
Maxwell's woman's work and just cry in the corner somewhere.
Hey, woman's work? No, I'm not doing that. It needs to be man's worth. Man's worth is what I need to. It's a hard ass couch. You ever did? The couch is hard. It's like fucking stone. It's what you laying on. Everything hurt when I woke up. Everything.
Old, man.
Huh?
It's because you're getting old.
No, you need to. See, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all ain't been through this situation, so it's hard to. It's hard. Y'all can't relate to the struggles that I go through.
What?
Men have it hard during pregnancy.
I slept on the airport little.
It ain't the same.
It's worse.
Nah, mine is way worse. Men have it hard during pregnancy, and you guys don't know because you ain't been through it. But soon as y'all go through it, don't come to me because I ain't gonna want to hear it. I'm gonna give you the same energy you gave me.
Do you need another 5 minutes? I just want to make sure you good.
Nah, I ain't good, but that's fine.
Sean a rare one today. He just like going for your head, bro. Like,
yeah, because the fact is, I don't know. The fact is, he ain't going through it, so he don't sympathize with me. That's the problem. Because when I talked to him about it, I thought he was the only one of the group that would, and he did the same thing everybody else does. That's why we suffer in silence, man.
Never said anything, but I do feel like there's things that happen. Like it can become stressful for you, especially with like having to deal with hormones and like
it's all stressful for me.
Like all of that those kinds of things. Mood swings, having to like go do extra things. Oh, I want this, I want that. So you're trying to make them more comfortable. So it can be stressful. I can understand that. So I agree. I mean, there are some stressful like components of it for you, but
respect.
The one that you're talking about,
respect.
As far
respect, EJ.
As far as sleeping on the couch there, I don't.
They don't even feed you, man.
Yeah.
I guess we should have like thought to like bring you something.
Yeah, they don't even feed you, man. They don't even feed you.
There's no McDonald's around the corner.
No, it's a McDonald's there, but why I gotta pay for it? Why they just giving her food? Why can't you got an extra plate for me?
I didn't realize.
Just letting you know that hospital cafeterias are really good.
No, they are, but I gotta pay for it. She ain't gotta pay for it.
Also, I mean,
that's the only good thing about hospitals, the food.
Yeah, I mean, and also when I was in the hospital, it's not like they had a dish ready for Shanita either. So
it's not about Shanita.
I'm just giving you an example of I just think
it ain't about Shanita. This is about males, what males go through during pregnancy.
I'm just saying in general, I don't think they provide the guest food.
I'm not a guest. I'm one of the reasons why she here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not a guest. I'm a part of this creation. So I need to be treated as such.
Okay.
I need food. I need a bed.
Time, and Shamor will happily drive it to you. We'll all, me and Raga will pitch in, and Shamor is going to drive it to you in his Cadillac.
Nah, he'll get pulled over. He'll get pulled over. So let's go into the topic, the reason that we're here. Interesting topic today is I wanted to talk about which is very important to me in my household is finances and how Black people, our mind frame with finances, how we deal with finances. I sit here and I say it's funny is how successful, like even like successful Black families are. It's still, I don't see a lot of them set their kids up financially or even have like savings accounts for them financially. And I find, and it doesn't even matter the status of the family. And what I learned is they did not have a lot of knowledge on finances. So what brought about this conversation was Saweetie, which is a rapper who's dating Quavo from the Amigos, and she was on his Instagram live, and she said she was promoting her new song with Janae Aiku, and said that if he is not getting you a Birkin, if he's not paying for your bills, then throw that nigga back to the streets. Okay, end quote. Now she got a lot of backlash for this comment, but then she went on and say it was entertainment, and she feels like a Birkin symbolizes value. So in her words, what she's trying to say is if you're not being valued in the relationship, then leave them. That's not what she said. She brought up the Birkin situation, and anybody knows, I actually researched Birkin bags because I don't know anything about Birkin bags. So I researched Birkin bags. They average $10,000 a bag. And to get a Birkin bag,
Oh, wow.
yeah, to get a Birkin bag, you can't just go in the store and buy a Birkin bag. You have to have a relationship with Hermès to do it. So what it means is you got to buy other shit. And then as you're building collateral with them, credit with them, then you can ask for a Birkin bag and be put on the waiting list to get it. So you can't, a Birkin bag is just not something you could just walk in and get. And I thought that was very interesting. Also, what I thought was very interesting is we're having this conversation about, and we can get into the fact that why do we care about what celebrities are doing with their money, but let's just keep it on the vein of regular people. The median Black income is $45,438 from my research. The median white income is $76,057. So they almost make on average $30,000 more than a Black family. Also, 36% of Black people has money in stocks. 60% of white people have money in stocks. 44% of Black people own houses. 74% of whites own houses. And we could go into historical context about the wage gap and the poverty gap, redlining, all these issues. But the first question I want to kind of ask you guys is, why are Black people obsessed with luxury items? Who wants to go first?
This is basically what she said. It's looked at as value. So the more you have of these luxury items, you look upon as having more value, or you're quote unquote got money. You Here's how I want to phrase this. So we spend a lot of time not having anything, and when we feel we have something, we want to show that we have something. So that's why I feel like a lot of people go out and buy these luxury items just so they can show that, you know what, I ain't broke no more.
Who you showing it
Or
off to, though?
what you conceive to be not broke anymore.
But who you showing it off to?
Us.
Okay, cool.
That's it. It's us.
No, I agree with you. Go ahead, Shar.
I think it's interesting. If I had in terms of Hermes bags, and I don't think most white people, in terms of typical middle America, actually have those bags. It's to your point, Daryl. It's probably most of the celebrities that could have that. So because we look to those celebrities and we see that they have those items that define I've made it, is what we probably turn to, because I think we as a people are probably much more flashier with what we have in comparison to other races. Well, I won't say other races. I'll say just white folks in particular, because I know other cultures are more flashier with their things. But I think that's the reason. So we're all to say that's the reason why, is because we've gone for so long that of being without or being denied things that's considered to have value. That now that we're almost in a position where we can actually have not even afford but have access to possibly get those items, we want to show that we have arrived. We're here. We are worthy of these items. So it's almost like to kind of show that, to kind of give a representation of like we're worthy of value. So
Okay. What about you, EJ?
Yeah, I think that things like that type of showmanship is kind of what the Black community kind of goes to show their status to everyone else. I think that it has become sensationalized and popular by entertainers, right? They make it seem like this is what you are looking to achieve. So, of course, little kids look at that. Like when we were younger, what do we aspire to get? We aspire to get these certain types of cars, have all these
Cadillacs.
women, to get these chains, to, all these different things, right? Because these rappers were rapping about what's the coolest thing to do. This is the show that I have all this money that I can spend. So people want to look like that, and people are attracted to that. I even think about it in like the gay community, like the same thing applies. Like in like to look like you have money is to look important. And that's one of the things I think that we associate with that. And it's kind of crazy because we go to so many lengths on end to try to look a certain way, but then you're in debt, or you really are poor. You're just still poor. It's just a facade. So I think it's kind of crazy, but yeah, that's definitely something that we use to kind of tell where we are, and
Right.
kind of elitism.
Right. And you actually brought up the word I was going to use. Is for me, it's definitely elitism. It's just to show that I'm better than you niggas. And it's just like, I can get this bag and you can't, because we're not showing out for white people. Char, you said it. We're not showing out for white people because white people ain't buying this. White people is now, it's us. Now, the only thing I would go further with you guys is it's not only a celebrity, it's a culture thing. Africa was big on gold.
exactly.
Europeans were selling slaves. They were selling them weapons and gold. So we've always had eagerness to be flashy. That's just part of our DNA, to be flashy. So I think we can embrace it, but we need to embrace it kind of responsibly. We shouldn't let these celebrities, we should act our wage and not let these celebrities like make us go in debt and broke and feel like we got to do it. I personally blame women, of course, because they want us to be flashy and we want women. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But to your point, when you said white people aren't doing it, that's not entirely true. I mean, you have a lot of white people that do, but you never really know what they're wearing. Like you have people wearing certain expensive things, but you never know they was expensive because they don't show the label. We're more about showing labels and all that stuff. They more go for like the discreet rich stuff. Like, they don't want to put the label on it. It looks like a regular t-shirt, but it might be Tom Ford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it might be some other shit.
Go ahead, Shar.
I'm glad he cleared that up, because that's kind of what Rodden just said, because that's kind of how they show. They don't show their work, and also that's true too. But also there's a lot. What I guess what I've learned just being in corporate America and just being around, I guess, certain white people most of the time, is that they like being cheap and like a good deal as well. So there's so many loopholes in terms of when we see them go on vacations and go certain places and do certain things, they're not paying full value for those things. Like there are so many loopholes and different things that they do to get those items that we as Black folks, because we don't have access to the knowledge of it, we envy those things, and then we end up paying full value for things where white folks are kind of not cutting corners, but finding different ways of getting those items where we just don't have access to that knowledge. Also, so that's also, I think, something interesting that sometimes don't think that just because you see somebody having those things that they're necessarily paying full value or actually.
So So then my other question about her comments is that I find interesting for black males is that why is it that when black males are not financially secure, he's for the streets? You know what I'm saying? Like, why does that status is like the only thing like it seems like we need to have? Like my mom used to say, she was like, she always used to say Deion Sanders is a very unattractive man. The only thing attractive on him is his money. And that's why everybody wants him. So why is it that like a woman can be broke, right? And long as she's attractive or whatever, but that's not we're not asking for you to buy us a PlayStation 5, even though I've asked for it numerous times. But why is it for males we have to be able to pay your bills and buy these expensive items for us to be appealing? Why do we have that status on us?
Because we've always been looked at as the breadwinner. I mean, you gotta understand, you're supposed to be able to support your family. You're supposed to be able to pay the bills, be able to take care of your wife, your kids, and all that stuff, and make sure that they're good. That's really what it is. It's just a new age version of it. It's like, so you coming home and paying the light bill and doing all that stuff is now turning into, how many trips can you take me on? How many bags can you buy me? What shoes can you buy me? What car can you put me in? That it's just varied into a modern way of taking care of, quote unquote, your family. Whereas if you can't, if you if you're not able to take care of your family, you look like as less of a man.
So hold on. Let me cut you off because that's an interesting comment. So the first thing you said was these are necessities. The bills are necessities. The
But she,
cars, the trips, the bags, these
but
aren't
that's the thing.
necessities.
But that's also what she also said. She said, if you ain't paying your bills, then you know. So the way that people they're looking at it now is, if you can't pay my bills, why am I with you?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I'm like, I don't live with you.
yeah.
So
Why are
why
we
am I
talking about
paying your bills?
but why are we
But
talking
that's
about
that
equality and independence then? Then why are we talking about that? If that what we're saying?
it's a catch-22, Daryl. I mean,
My mouth, yeah.
it's a catch-22.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to be able to say, I can take care of myself, but I don't want to. I want you to take care of me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need you, but I want you to do it.
All right, go ahead, Shar.
No, I mean, what Rawlins said, it hits the nail on the head. I mean, I feel like with women, they want the option of being able to take care of themselves. But I think, and I don't know if this is a general statement, I think also in most cases, women want to have a man that's able to take care of them. And not even take care of them financially, but just protect them and make sure that everything is okay. Now, I guess to your point, I guess with Saweetie, what she was saying, it was more not necessarily of wants, but I mean not needs, but wants. What someone wants,
Mhm.
and I think that's probably what. But from based off of her status, I don't know her financial. You know, I don't know what's going on with her financially, but maybe getting those things is something that of a need for her because she can afford to buy those things for herself. Maybe she's saying someone should be able to afford to buy those things for her, and that means that she's getting a man based off of her level to actually take care of the things that she feel like she needs in a man.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if that's considered fair or not, but I think that's just the society that we live in. Whether we want to say it out loud or not, is that the expectation of the man is to be able to make sure
No,
that
it's
he can provide for his
no,
family.
it's true. It's
Yeah,
true, but I think what it is insensitive, and it's insensitive to the point. First of all, we have a pandemic where a bunch of people are losing their jobs. But even if we didn't have this, you talking about your fan base is just regular people, and you're up here. I'm always weird about celebrities flashing money when their fan base are just regular people. So like Meek Mill is a good one. I was not a huge Meek Mill fan at first, and a lot of it turned me off of him is because he was always flashing money. And I was just like, but why would that be appealing for me as a regular person to see you bragging about money? I know he says it as his motivation, but I never saw it as that. I was just like,
but
you're just bragging at this
you
point.
understand, like, he came from nothing, now he got money. So you always want to show off that you got what you didn't have before. And also to clarify something, we're not gonna say all females are like this.
yeah,
They want Birkins and all that
Yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff. There are a lot of females that will do things themselves and they don't expect anything from a person. But if you do give something, it's a thank you and it's enhancement. There's other females that decide that they, you know what, for them, showing what you have is your knowledge of other areas, such as like, finance and building long-term wealth. But you also have a lot of materialistic women that are looking for these things,
Right.
like,
Right.
But
and
also
this is because
add to
it's
that,
because we've become a social media community. And for you to be popular on social media, you have to have certain things. You have to look a certain way, and you have to have needs for certain things. So that's where we're at.
yeah.
All right, go ahead, Shar, and then
Well,
EJ.
I was actually gonna throw this question out here because it's kind of, I mean, we put it on the women, but also the men want these things as well. It's not like, we do want the things that we see that are defined as successful or defined as we made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
No,
because I don't,
absolutely. But we don't. The difference is though is we don't put it on women to do this for us and then say if you can't do it, you're for the streets. That's the difference. We want these things and we kind of it's our culture to get it ourselves. So that's the only difference of it. Um, go ahead, EJ.
There's so many things that were said. It's kind of hard
yeah,
to.
it's a lot.
I think that if we're talking about why is it the way that it is, if you go back to historical context, like back in the day when you did see Black families together and our community was a little bit more tight knit, it was the man that was usually working.
Hmm.
Also, sometimes the woman would work too as well. But the money that the man brought and gave to the wife, right? And so they were the ones that typically would take care of all the bills or whatever. So they would try to do as much as they could to try to
Mhm.
please their wife, or if they were dating their girlfriend, to show that they actually cared about them. I think sometimes it was just out of habit, and sometimes it was out of love. I think that the difference between then and now is not it's not any different. It's the same. We just are taking it to like another extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also see that if you think about the historical context of people that have old money versus new money, old money is not usually flashy. They have money
Yeah.
and they know they have money, so they feel secure. But people that come from nothing and now have lots of money have now taken on this aura that I have to show everyone that I made it out the hood or that I made it out of a problematic situation. And look at me now, I'm carrying all this money. So Black people are very, very emotionally driven and also visually driven. So if we see something that is appealing to us in that way, or someone is so passionate about or plays with our heartstrings about certain things, then we kind of are drawn to that sometimes. And so that's why we see that, now people are like, oh yeah, yeah, if you can't buy me this or you can't buy me that, then like you're not really, about me, you're not really for me, you're not really, you don't really care about me. Like, so it's kind of like a mindset thing that we've allowed to kind of like take over how we look at society and what we should actually expect in relationships and from people that we're dating.
Hmm.
I will say, of course, it's not all women that do that, but the crazy thing about it is that almost always in the media, what we see are women that are aspiring to be on the come up. So we never hear about these women that aren't, right? So all of you are dating women that are not about that life. So it's just interesting that that's what we see the most focus on.
You're right, and I just find it sometimes I find it a little hypocritical. I think human beings are hypocrites naturally, so I'm not
Hmm.
gonna blame anybody for it. But I do think that sometimes like we teach women now, especially now, to be independent, to be strong, to go to college, get knowledge, get a job on your own, but yet we're still promoting this. Um,
But I guess also just to add something to you were saying, Daryl, do you think that we teach women that part based off of what some society may be considered the failure of a man, based off of the separation of families, the fact that the men are not providing the way that they used to provide?
No,
And
well, no, I think it's important to have two income households, but I think it's also important that like I would never tell my daughter to need a man. I want her to always be able to be independent because when you need, there's a level of control there. So you seen like a man be very controlling because he's paying all the bills, and I don't ever want to put you in that situation. It's just we kind of pick and choose what evolution we want. It's like a la carte. I want this. I don't want this. You know what I'm saying? Except, but evolution has to be. If you want true equality, then it has to be equality across the board. We can't pick and choose what part of equality that we want that benefits us. So I was gonna
Before
go
you go
ahead.
to
Adrian.
that point, I do agree. I think that Shamor, a lot of times, again, what we see most often is that Black men are not stepping up to the plate. So of course, then that does put women in a mind frame to think, okay, well, if now I see all these Black men not stepping up to the plate, and we know people personally where they've been involved with Black men that have not stepped up to the plate.
Right.
So they feel like they have to. Well, they don't even feel like it. They're like, I'm not gonna wait for a man to do this for me. I'm a make sure I can take care of myself.
Mhm.
So there's that happens too, and I think it's really gonna be a contingent upon us Black men to change that precedent or change that narrative to show people, hey, like again, I can give 3 examples of people that I'm looking at right now that don't fit the narrative of Black men that are basically a deadbeat, right? But
Right.
I also have examples of Black men that are attached to people in my family that I feel like are deadbeats. So it's like we got to kind of be able to like draw those images out and change that narrative.
Yeah,
Right.
and there's one more thing to that. So if it is a situation where the man is the sole provider and the wife isn't, is that considered an equality? Or maybe it is equality just based off of what values that they bring to the outside of financial issues, in terms of saying that maybe it is equality, or maybe a situation where both people. I think equality truly is making the decision to be whatever position you want to be in your family, whether it's being the sole financial provider or not, on both sides, in terms of women not degrading men by thinking that if they're not the if they're not the sole provider, or if the man want to be the sole provider, or if the woman, or if it's both people working together. And I think we just need to get to a point where equality um is represented by what works for your household, and not necessarily saying that it has to be a particular way.
No,
Yeah.
that's absolutely right. That's at the end of the day, equality is whatever your household decides it is. So it's whatever it is. But I wanted to talk about Black people's buying power is estimated at $1.2 trillion. $1 trillion. So this is how much we spend consumer wise. We help the economy a great deal. What if you bought your significant other a Birkin? How would they respond? I know, EJ, you said that was a heterosexual question, so whatever's the equivalent to that, how would you? Because I can already tell you off top, my wife would be, she'd be like, "What are you doing with this? Like, we could have spent $10,000. We could have spent getting paying off debts, our down payment to the house. Like, we could have went elsewhere with this." So that's how my wife would have responded. But I'm wondering how y'all's significant others would respond to that.
I think Danny would be, oh, she might like it, but she would probably be the same way. Like, we could have spent this on something else. We could have went a different direction with this. Like, could have bought something cheaper.
Could have bought something cheaper. Could have bought an
and
$8,000 bag.
And spend the money. No, that's not. And spend the money on and spend the money on something else. You know, like you could have taken a trip or some shit, or you could have, and have an experience or
Right.
something more memorable than just having a bag.
Right. What about you, Char?
Oh, for me, I mean, right now it would be not. It would be a ridiculous purchase, and she would not even accept that. But I would like to add on to that is that our goal in life is to get to the point where if we wanted to buy it, we could, and that it wouldn't necessarily impact our pocket to the point that if we were to do it. So right now, absolutely not. But 10 years from now, if we want to, we get it. So
nice. All right, EJ.
I can't even think of what the equivalent would be.
Yeah, I was about to ask you what is the equivalent.
What the equivalent would be. I mean, there are bags for men, so like,
So a $10,000 bag for men. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't have a significant other, but if someone bought me a $10,000 bag, I don't think that it would. No, like I can't say what they would say. Thank you.
You made it sad, man.
But for
what
me,
if somebody brought you 10,000?
If someone bought me that, like I would be fine with it. I wouldn't like. I would just question to make sure that like this isn't going to put you in a situation economically. But I mean, I would accept it. I mean, I've bought myself $5,000 bags, so I don't.
Oh.
Like I don't have.
Yeah, $5,000 bag.
I have.
Show it. Where is it at?
Y'all
Bro, bro.
the time bags.
Pull
What you talking about?
it out.
I didn't realize it was
yeah.
$5,000. I mean,
I would have.
You do have a duffel bag, right?
I have a couple duffel bags.
If I knew
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I would have been in
Oh,
your
you
room
gotta-
yesterday
you
because I
gotta
would have
knock
touched
them
a
off.
$5,000 bag.
I have,
You'll never touch a $5,000 bag down.
No. Where am I being in my life that I need to touch a $5,000 bag? But now next time I go over Edward's house, that's the first thing I'm gonna go to.
I mean,
Phoebe traveled with them.
yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean,
so, but I'm just saying, like, that to me, like, it doesn't, like, I'm fine with accepting gifts like that, but at the same time, like, are you okay financially to be able to do that, right? Because again, like you guys said, there are other things that are more important than buying me a bag. There's other ways to show me that you truly care about me, like a 5K platinum ring, but that's okay.
A 5K platinum ring. So,
bro, what's up with this 5K ring though? For real, like who's buying this 5K ring?
Whoever I'm going to get married to will buy an engagement ring.
oh,
Will
okay.
we be on a yacht when you get proposed to? I just want to be on a yacht.
Be around when I get engaged to.
Yeah, we're gonna be on a yacht. If
I
you
don't
make a
know,
5K ring, we're gonna be on a
I'm
yacht.
going to plan that.
Oh no, we're gonna be there.
We're gonna be on the yacht. Oh yeah, but
I want to
so
see
my question, and EJ, I'm interested to hear your comment on this. What was the most expensive thing you ever bought yourself or your mate? Then, so is that 5,000 bag the most expensive thing you ever bought yourself? I would hope so, but
Yeah, that was probably the most expensive thing that I bought for myself. But for someone that I was dating, I don't know.
That's why mine wasn't for because my wife's not into that like that. So mine would be for myself, and mine is not nowhere near 5,000. I spent $400 on my 72 and 10 Jordans, and that is just for me that was just an embarrassing purchase that I would never do again. But I did spend $400 on my Jordans. What about you, Shar? I'm guessing Walmart value brand. $27.
I'm really sitting here trying to think about how much the most expensive thing I spent on myself.
And I'm not talking about house.
No, and it's
Not
funny.
talking about that.
Mine is, golly, does vacation count? I mean,
no, just
okay.
an item. Yourself or your wife. I knew it was gonna be hard for you.
I mean, Rockport shoes, I guess, or like Kohans. I mean, that's
How much?
I guess the shoes I just bought a few weeks ago, like 120. The one I just bought from
You need to act your wage.
But no,
anybody has a birthday, it should have been you. But
I mean, I'm not Birkin. I'm not even Birkin status. I won't even say that. It's just that I don't know. I just haven't really been that person to always spend something on myself. I mean, I guess I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I can't necessarily think of something, and it's not because of financial reasons. It's just that I just necessarily never think about stuff to actually spend on myself like that.
So the funny story, yesterday he picks me up from my house, and the first thing I get in the car, and the first thing I say is, I didn't know you had other clothes. Like usually I see you in the same and one basketball shorts. Like I didn't know you had other clothes. And he was like, yeah, Shanita bought this for me. I said, I'm not surprised. I was like, where'd she get it from? He was like, I don't know, I think Walmart.
Yeah,
so
Walmart.
like that's exactly who you are.
Yeah. But granted, I guess to your point, I'll say this. So if it's something that I see that I like, I would get it, but I would probably go back and forth with myself before I purchase it. Like I remember when I was a kid, when I was working, and you remember FUBU, how expensive FUBU clothes was.
Mm-hmm.
I was buying a lot of FUBU on clothes that I probably shouldn't have been buying. And that was like almost like $75, $100 a shirt and stuff like that. But
that's what about Shanita?
A decade ago. Like, come on.
I'm really sitting here trying to think. I'm like, yeah, I do not make large purchases as far as big things on myself. So,
but what about your wife?
Janita? She buy a lot of clothes. So I guess
what have you bought her?
You bought from her.
I bought for her probably her ring. I mean, her actual ring. I guess would be probably the most expensive thing I purchased.
That's a cop out. Ring's a cop out. I wouldn't put a ring in that. We all could add that on. Then that was the case.
Let's see.
Because the ring is mostly like it's a want, but it's actually a need with the culture of weddings. Like, so I'm talking about strictly like unnecessary items. We'll just come back to you. So Raw. He's over there making facial expressions wrong.
Yeah. The most expensive thing I ever bought for myself outside of a car was probably my Alexander McQueen's.
How much?
$560.
$560. Okay. I'm shocked. I thought you were gonna be way higher than that.
Nah, I really don't. Most of my stuff, it really isn't that expensive. Like I shop. I learned from my mom. I shop on sale, but I buy nice stuff on sale. And so like, I do like off brands. Like I'll do Aldo and stuff like that. The most expensive thing I bought for Danny hasn't come yet.
Oh,
what? Well, can we know what it is, or is it's a surprise for her?
Everyone knows what it is.
Okay, so can we know what it is, or is it like? Why are you being so secretive?
Because she's standing right here in front of me.
Okay.
And she's looking at me right now.
Can we get the price tag?
No.
So we can't. So why you join this segment, man?
I can't because she's right here.
No, tell her to get out.
Sign language.
Okay. No, actually, y'all all know what it is because I showed you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You talking about the because she can't hear me, right?
No, she can't hear you.
So we talking about the shoes?
No.
Oh,
I don't know
what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
The thing that goes next to that was with that.
I don't remember the picture.
I think I remember.
Edward, can you say it? Can you say it, or do you?
I don't know if I remember exactly.
I showed you a picture of it.
Show me multiple things I can't remember.
It was next to the.
This is great for our viewers, by the way, Raw. I want you to know that this is great for our viewers.
Is it a bag?
There you go, Morch.
Yeah, I think I remember showing it with the shoes or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't pay attention to the photo like that.
It was, but I was like, am I missing something?
So it was a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's not a Birkin. Is it higher than $1,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
Higher than $2,000?
No.
1,500.
About.
What?
So hopefully Danny doesn't watch this podcast.
No. By the time she watches podcast, she will already have it.
All right, nice. Nice.
I remember what brand it was, but you tell me it was not Gucci, like the poor people.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, the poor people. Come on.
Mm-mm.
Did we just say that out loud?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
come on. That's what this whole episode is about, man. But you bring me to my point. So what has because a lot of stuff that we do financially, like for me, it was trial and error. I had this when I was a bartender at Chili's. I had a white manager, and I would always talk to him about finance. He's the one that taught me about, simple stuff, savings accounts, 401ks, Roth accounts, like all that stuff. He also said, don't ever take financial advice with somebody you don't want to switch bank accounts with. So my question to you guys, because I had to do all this trial and error to figure out finances, debts, credit, all this. My mom told me never to get a credit card because, you'll be in debt, but she didn't tell me the power of using credit. I had to learn that very late. And I think we have to, as Black people, we have a lot of trial and error, and that's why we're in a lot of debt as we are at the beginning. We're trying to clean it up. Like our 20s, we make our mistakes. At 30, we're trying to clean it up. Right. What did your family teach y'all about finances?
My mom was very big on finances. Like she's very big on credit. Like she has a perfect credit score. So when you're talking about somebody I want to switch bank accounts with, I want to switch a bank account with her. And this is from someone, and then to be honest, this is from someone that came here making nothing, like, being a sleeping nanny for years. So her whole thing was always about building your bank account and, building credit to make sure that you're set up for the future and you're not struggling when you get older. So for her, she's always taught me about CDs, IRA, Roths, the importance of having money in your bank account, investing in stock, paying attention to the stock market, and just making sure that, when you buy stuff, you buy or sell. You can always get nice stuff, but you don't have to pay full price for it. Like she's always looking for a deal, and she she a bougie chick. So yeah,
She's a bougie chick. What about you,
bruh,
Shar?
I'm
Well, go
telling
ahead.
you, if you ask Daniel, she'll tell you my mom is bougie. She is bougie as hell, but she bougie on a budget.
That's nice. What about you, Shar?
Mhm.
I guess in terms of where I come from and where I grew up, it's a very simple place.
Mhm.
So people own their homes, but they actually built their homes. And like if anybody's buying anything, it's typically like a trailer or something as far as a home, or they're like already a car where they have a monthly payment. So finances as far as credit and those type of things, I didn't really learn until I got older. But my mom and my sister, in a sense, we kind of learned together in terms of kind of made mistakes together and kind of like figure out everything together as well. So I guess growing up, those things they weren't of value because this wasn't important as far as our living. But I guess as you continue to progress, it became more important. So I kind of learned by trial and error and just listening to other people and just trying to figure out what stuff is. I I didn't learn about 401ks and all that stuff until I started working, because at that point I didn't know anybody who had a 401k until and even in that situation, I think it depended on whatever job you had if you even would get exposed to the concept of actually having a 401k. So I learned that when I started working. I learned it through me and Shanita kind of grew together as far as our relationship, as far as figuring out those things as well, and just stuff that we kind of picked up along the way, I guess. And then also being around white people, I kept and also working around white people also, because it's a whole like I didn't realize it's a whole other game, and it's just so much stuff that they know and is exposed to that we just don't have the access or knowledge to. So that's actually kind of why I learned a lot as well. Yeah.
It is funny that most people who learn finances, black people, learn from a white person, because it's amazing how that is.
You know that
Because
that is so true.
like I think all of us have similar stories on that. Well, what about you, EJ?
Mhm.
My my parents literally told me nothing about finances at all. So again, trial and error on my own and research. Actually, a black woman taught me about finances um, when I was in my mid 20s, and then like as I was becoming 30. So all through that time, she was telling me about where she was into real estate and how she saved money and things to look out for and how to spend money wisely. So my really good friend, she taught me about finances, and she happened to be black. And I found out my dad was awesome with finances. Um, and he had never taught me anything. Now he is more like concerned and try to give me like tidbits of information, here and there. Now my dad has amazing credit. He's really smart. He made a whole financial plan for my one sister when she was in debt and got her out of debt in a certain period of time, but never took the time to talk to me about it. Why? I'm not sure. But I've learned a lot, just trial and error from some of my friends, and then me like personally having to research and then be in debt and get myself out of debt. So yeah, that's kind of, I feel like, is like the same thing for many black people.
Yeah, and I feel like you said a black woman taught you because we all said a white person taught us. I feel
Mhm.
like you just had to be different.
No, that's actually the truth. That's actually the truth.
No, but what I would say was, I think for black families, they kind of teach us survival. Like they try to tell us what not to do, but never tell us exactly what to do. So
Well,
we're
also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like we all said, we're all learning from trial and error, and we have to make so many mistakes, and that puts us so far behind
Yeah.
everybody else. But go ahead, sure.
But I also, and I say this all the time, we're a generation behind,
Right,
because
absolutely.
and I always say this, like I will hope our kids will be a lot better prepared than we were, because of course now that we understand the game, our job is to kind of teach it to them. Because I remember me and Shanita always said this, like, we went to college with friends who, like, when they came to paying for their wedding, getting their first home, and those type of things, their parents were there to assess and help them kind of get through that process. Or they were given the option of, do you want a wedding or do you want a home, or to furnish the home? Oh, my parents just had these items in the house, and so we just used it to move it into our new home. Whereas for us, it was literally starting from scratch. You don't really have that source to pull from, and you're trying to build up yourself with the intention of being able to provide for the next generation of your family. So it's just a whole another game to trying to catch up. But I think eventually it'll get to the point where it has to even out at some point. You know what I'm saying? So
No, but you said so many gems right there that I wanted to discuss on, especially so when I was getting the pre-approval for the house, one of the questions they asked is, do you have a family member to give you a gift for a down payment? And I'm like, a family member give me a gift of a down payment? Who does that? And it was like, you'd be surprised that like the white families, like you said, the parents would give them the down payment on their house. Or, which is funny about Black people, and I think we all have went through it, is that with the wedding, is every Black person wants a traditional wedding until it's about paying. You know what I'm saying? The traditional wedding is the wife's family pays for the wedding. So we want everything traditional except that. That is not traditional. But that's why I just wanted to talk about the gems that you just dropped. But my question for you guys, my next question is, how do you guys financially manage your household? So EJ, let me start with you.
Well, it's only just me.
That's why I started with you.
So it's pretty easy. I always try to, when I'm like doing my budget, I always try to make sure I take the same amount off the top of everything. And that's even before bills, to set aside into like emergency fund, and then also into savings, and then any other savings areas that I have. And then from there, that's when I budget, like I do all my bills. And then what's left over, I try to only use like $100 for every 2 weeks for food. So I've really gotten good at that, except for, this whole coronavirus is kind of messed up like food, because you don't always want to cook. And then sometimes you don't have time to cook, in between jobs for me, because I work one and go to another. So oftentimes I see myself spending money to go using Uber Eats, which has probably become the like only business that has grown throughout the coronavirus.
Well, Amazon too.
Pandemic, and Amazon. And I actually use Amazon to do bring my groceries here. But that's how I try to like budget that. And I give myself a low like amount, because everything else will take precedent over that. And I don't really have anything else that I really need to be getting right now. Like if I want to get something, I budget out months. Like I want to get myself for Christmas, I want to get myself a Nintendo Switch. So I could go get it right now if I wanted to, but for me, I want to make sure that like I stay on track. So I budgeted it out so that I could get it. And I actually use the app, it's called Digit. So you can create different like savings, like goals that you want. Like I have an emergency fund in there, I have a savings account, and it will pull, you tell them whatever the goal is and whatever the time frame is that you want to reach that goal, and it pulls money from your account just randomly, like every day in the week. And you don't even notice the money going, because it's usually small amounts, until it decides to take out $100, and you look in your account, you're like, okay, I've been budgeting, and why is my account $100 left? You're like, you go see digit.com, and I'm like, okay, so Digit took out $100. But usually it's a small amount, so you don't even see it at all.
So is that a free service? Because that's important. I think that's very important. I think that's a good knowledge to drop on people, to know that if they want to do it, to go to, you said digit.com?
Yeah, it's an app. So Digit is the name of the app, and it's super easy.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good knowledge to drop. What about you, Shar?
Okay, we haven't always done this. We kind of got to this point where we are now. So I literally track every item in our household, where we have categories based off of our goal in terms of what we want to spend for each month. So we have a budget for food, we have a budget for, miscellaneous expenses, for what we want to spend on apps, for Hulu, all that stuff. It's really broken down in terms to show exactly where our money is going. And we try to make sure, and even I have it set up where our savings account is considered an expense. So we actually count that as money that's saying, okay, you need to pay your savings account for this particular month. So, and when it comes to like showing what's available, we don't even show our savings as an option of saying that this is available to spend. It just created as an expense. We have not always been like that. It took us a while to get to that point of being disciplined enough to even get there. Because at first it was just like you have a card, you just sliding, just unconsciously, just buying stuff, and then you kind of realize that those every individual $10 purchases have now turned into hundreds of dollars. You know, so it took us a while to get to that point. As far as accounts, we have a joint account where all the money of our accounts go in, as far as to kind of manage everything in the house, and we both now have separate savings account outside of the savings account that we have to kind of like make little purchases that we now want to make specifically for ourselves. Right. At first, I didn't have that savings account, but I decided to kind of get it so that way I can still feel like I have some type of individualism in our relationship where she can have. You laughing, but she has that, because she always had it, and that's why I decided like I need to probably go ahead and do the same thing. So that's kind of how we kind of make sure we manage everything, and then we kind of, although we probably haven't done it for a few weeks, but we try to meet regularly to kind of keep track of how our spending is going, and how to add or take away items that we may or may not need to have in our budget. So that's kind of how we.
Nice. And so, what about you, Raw?
So for us, the wedding has really helped us with saving money, because you kind of buckle down and you look at every little minute thing that you do, because now you're trying to put everything that you have towards that.
Right.
So with that, it really has helped us. Like, not only do we have most of the money we need to win, and we got an excess of money that we just put aside, and we have a joint savings account that we just put money together in. Then we also have both our separate accounts that we also put money in, and that's really helped me with saving my own money, because I was horrible at that. But I've really started to like save more and do stuff like that. And then we all have our own bills that we're responsible for in the house, and so those things are just taken care of outside of the joint account. So like we just use our own money to take care of that, and then whatever we have, we put in the joint account and try to build that up.
Nice. So with me is I treat my account as a nonprofit. So I zero out my bank account every month. And what it does is access goes to debt. It's whatever's access, because I'm like you, Shar. I have an Excel spreadsheet and I document everything I do. And I'm very religious with this. I'm very OCD about this. And I document everything I do. At the beginning of the month, I have this big pot left over. Half of it goes to whatever credit card I'm paying off at that time. The other half goes right into my savings account. And I always, at the end of the month, zero out my bank account. Another thing, another jewel, just like digit.com, I am religiously on Credit Karma. Credit Karma is a soft credit pool. It doesn't give you an exact number. It's going to give you a roundabout number, but it also teach you, that's how we refinances our vehicles. If I wanted to do a balance transfer on my credit card, it gives me options to do it. Then I am very religious on Credit Karma. So, and then just like, go ahead, bro.
Like Capital One has something like that, credit wise. They're like, oh, they'll keep track of your credit score.
Yes.
So it's like every 7 days it tells you what your credit score looks like.
Yep. And it's a way to build and understand the finances and what everything, where all your money is going. We used to have budget meetings. We're gonna try to get back into it where we're discussing finances and making a game plan for the month. But my goal for my household is like, and that's kind of my next question. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in it. My goal of our household is right now to be debt free. So we have 3 phases of our debt free. We have credit cards is phase 1. Our vehicles are phase 2, and student loans is phase 3. And I guess phase 4 would be the house when we get it, would be phase 4. But that is my goal, to be the house, for us to be debt free, and also for us to be able to live off one income. And when I say that, it's like we're both still will be working, but we're able to only live off my income, where with hers would just be extra savings, emergencies, any of that. So that's my goal too. And it's a little, it takes me a little longer now because we have mouths to feed, so it's a little harder to live off one income now. But that is my goal, to have to live off one income, and then the rest to just be bonus. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are your financial goals for your household? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think I guess me and you fall on the same line, Daryl. I want us to be able to be debt free, but not even debt free. I want to get to the point where I like if I want a car that I never like, for example, for a car, I don't want to have to get a loan for a car. I
Right.
want to get to the
Yes.
point where I can, if I want a particular car, I want to be able to have the cash available to just purchase the car. So that way I wouldn't necessarily have a monthly payment. Um, I I think we're about to go into that next step of being able to do that because of an investment we made 10 years ago in our home to get us to the point of being able to sell it and kind of profit off of that and then go toward moving that next into that next phase of what we want to do. Um, I think I would love for me. I guess my wife and I go back and forth about this part of it as far as being able to. We want to live off of one income, but at the same time, we want one person available to be able to build something outside of the corporate world. So we're trying to figure out the best timing and way to do that because we're trying to move toward the point where my wife either want to work part time or not at all, where my income supports the family while she's on the side trying to build something outside of that. They're trying to build something for us. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. Where, to your point, Daryl, could her part time job take care of the majority of the expenses that we have, and then in the other time that she has to build up the business, or do we just want her to not work at all? And then my job to take care of all of our finances
Mm-hmm.
in order to do that. But if we do that, then we would have to drastically change our lifestyle to make sure that we're living as cheaply as possible while we still try to build something over on this end. So we're trying to figure out that plan and that portion in terms of how we want to handle it.
Yeah, and it's constant dialogue to get to these
Yeah.
goals. But what about you, AJ?
Yeah, no. So my goal first and foremost is to try to get all of my credit card debt done by next year. So that's my first step in my goals. My step or phase two is also while I'm doing that. Well, I'll be done with my car March of next year. So a lot of that money is now no longer going to be tied onto a car note. So I'm going to be able to save more for a house. I plan on having a house when I'm 40, which is in 2 years. So I'll be buying a house at that time, as a part of just, the American dream and as a part of, investment, right? Because we know a house is not just
Mm-hmm.
a purchase, is also an investment. So I think, for me, the goal that I've set is to have residual income coming in or to own a business that I'll be able to profit from. So, you guys know that I have several ideas about businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Interior design is a passion of mine, also baking and cookies. So eventually I would like to have, I'm trying to figure out the timing for that. Like Shamorg said, timing is very important. You got to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you start to really
Right.
put yourself into a business venture such as opening a business. So right now I'm doing a lot of research about businesses, but I do plan to open a cookie shop. It might be something really small at first, where maybe it's online based, only going to be available in this area, and then from there be able to expand it to wherever else. But those are the kind of the steps. My student loans is absolutely the last thing. While I'll be paying on them, they're going to be the last phase of mine. But like definitely the most important thing, number one, credit card debt. Let's get that done, so that's not something I have to continue to worry about. My car will be done. I'm purchasing a home.
So
Business.
go ahead. I'm sorry. One thing I do want to add though is that, well, two things I want to add, that I want to get into stocks next year. That's my big thing for next year, is I really want to get into stocks. I'm trying to figure out, because I think we all want to venture and do some entrepreneur stuff. I know I like writing, so a graphic novel that I'm trying to finish up and get into. But the main thing I forgot to say earlier was I have two kids, so I want to set them up. So I've already started an account. Kylie already has an account. Dax won't have one because you can't have one until he's born, because you need a social security card to put his name on it. So I haven't started his. But my goal, I don't want them to work their first 2 years of college because I just want them to focus strictly on school. I want, and then when they work their junior and senior year, I want them to do internships to work with the profession wherever they're going. So for me, I had to work all during college, and I think that took away from me. And another thing about college, and this is the last question for you guys, is do you think college hurt us as Black people? And when I say college hurt, I don't mean college, the institution of learning. I'm talking about
get me from my phase.
What?
You forgot to ask Rodden what his goals were, his financial goals.
Oh, I thought I'd ask you. My bad.
No,
up his nose the entire time.
It's okay, you know. I forgot it. Some here.
Ma, go ahead.
Nah, for my financial goals,
can you
definitely my.
Talk on that.
What? You said what?
No, go ahead.
We're not looking at your
opinion.
I know you don't care about my opinion.
No, we're talking about they don't want to look up your nose, is what he's saying.
I'm sorry, I'm driving. What do you want me to do?
Not be. But go ahead. What are your goals?
So my car is going to be paid off in December, January. So that's something that I always wanted to knock out of the way. I'm not going to take a hit on that on my credit score, but whatever. Then after the wedding, late next year, early 2022, I do want to buy a house. And then after that, I want to start looking at buying low-end houses, like houses like $15,000, and just reinvesting in them, getting them correct, building them up, and then probably just Airbnb-ing them out.
Nice.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it, I get a loan for like $80,000, buy a house of 15, and you put that money back into it. That's residual income that you always have coming in. So that's something that I want to look into. Thank you, HGTV.
Yeah, he gave me an idea, Rodden.
Huh?
Just gave me an idea.
Yeah, so that's what I was. Also, we've really been starting to work on her credit. Really trying to get her credit up to where it needs to be, and just keep in mind where it should be. So, pretty much.
Now, credit is very important, man, and I think that we learn to stay away from credit, but we need to make credit work for us, not be afraid of it, but let it work for us. So again, my last question was about college, and it was about, do you think it hurt us? And I'm not talking about the learning institution. I think college is extremely important. College was one of the best times of my life, and I love college. I'm strictly talking about the student loan debt that comes from it. And what I'm saying is 85% of Black people go to college, accrue student loan debt. And our student loan debt is usually higher than any other race. And we're the most to get defaulted on the debt. So again, EJ, you talked about your student loan debt. I know I have a master's degree. I have a huge student loan debt. Is that hurting us as Black people though?
Oh.
Yeah, I think that student loans is something that is very it's not spoken about when we have our children go to college. Mm-hmm. It's not planned in advance. I know that for my parents, they put a lot of stuff under my name to get loans for college, which, you know, we want to have the funds to be able to go to that, but we got to do better at planning ahead of time. And then I feel like not all the time is there a push to go to a college, right? I think another thing that we need to think about is we need to push to things that the kids are good at. I think that everyone's like, oh yeah, go to college. You know, that's exactly what you need to be doing at this time. But not every person needs to go to college to accrue that debt. There are some things that are trade that you can go to other schools that are not as expensive, that won't accrue as much debt. Like for me, my parents pushed me to be in the medical field, which is something I had a passion about, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I feel like if they would have pushed me in the area that I wanted to go, which was interior design and fashion at that time, then I would have had a different outcome as far as student debt is concerned, because I could have used a different way to go about schooling in that regard. So I think that we have to really think more strategically in that respect, and then we have to be educated. I know a lot of people, their kids don't pay anything for school. Why? Because they decided to take out these life insurance policies for kids when they were young. So when they're in college, now they can draw funds from that and they can use that to pay for school. So now your kid's going to school without having have much debt at all. So I think that, yes, it is hurting us because when we get done with school, you're not exactly guaranteed to have a job in your field, in your profession, and to be making enough money to be able to pay those loans back.
No, and I think the important thing that you said was also have a roadmap. Like just like what does as a child, I think for us in our age it was just go to college. I don't care what you do when you get there, but you just need to go. And having a roadmap of what the child wants to do. Like you, right now, I work in computers. I didn't do computers in college. I have an MBA that I'm not using. I have, you know what I'm saying? My bachelor's was in communications. I use it now for this show, but as for my corporate life, I don't. And it's just like if somebody would have worked with me, I would have less debt because I would have never got my business degree. I like business, but not like that, not to have a master's degree in it. And if somebody would have guided me, I would never went that route and would have had less debt for it. But go ahead, Raw.
I'm with you, man. I'm the same way. Like, I went to school for business, but I'm a police officer. Like, you see,
yeah,
it
hold on, Raw. You going in and out. Let's go to Shar until you come back. Go ahead, Shar.
Very controversial about this. I think how to word this, because I think we're all saying the same thing, but I think right now we're just not like as Black people, we're almost not in the position to go to college for what we kind of want to do or dream to do. We almost have to go to school strategically to go after degrees that actually allows us to be able to have a job, to get a job that's profitable and allow us to be able to build some level of wealth. And the reason why I say that is because I went to school for engineering. I'm an industrial engineer by degree. I got my MBA in supply chain management, and my career path in terms of what I've done is directly related to what I went to school for, because it was specific. It was a high paying position, and it pretty much tracks out where I was. So from that angle, I think it depends on how you use college, because if you're using college to obtain a degree that's going to make you, I guess, sellable to a employer, then I think it's definitely profitable. At the same time, if you don't know what you want to do, and the best option is for you to get a trade, which is also could be profitable, go in that direction as well. But I think when you go into roles like, I don't want to say art roles as far as like trying to become an artist, or going to communications, or going to degrees that not necessarily allows you to be able to directly go into that position, you do end up being in a spot where you're not using that degree based off of what you actually went to school for. And I think it puts you in a position where now you have all this debt, and now the degree you have doesn't allow you to do what you intentionally went to school for. So I think, to your point, the way y'all said, we need to be a little more strategic to try to encourage us to go into those STEM programs, into those degrees where we know that the jobs are available, to get to the point where we can actually be able to use that resources to try to build up ourselves, and then eventually build up our generations after that.
Yeah, and another thing I would add to that though is that I didn't know going in, like getting a job, that you can like negotiate your salary.
Yeah.
I didn't know, like, even like if you get a raise, that those things can be negotiated. And I think as Black people, sometimes we're afraid to do it because we're afraid to them say, all right, fuck it, we'll go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that we need to know that we have value and that we can negotiate, because all they can do is renegotiate and say, this is what we're willing to do or whatever, and you could decide to take it or not. But I think we're so afraid to negotiate because we don't want to lose it. And those are stuff that I'm actually just learned a couple of years ago heading into corporate. Yeah. But Raw, you back with us? Go ahead, finish yours.
Yeah, man, I lost my train of thought from earlier, but yeah, it's like I'm the same way you are, Darryl. I went in, I got a degree in something that I'm not even using right now. I mean, it may help me further down in life, but at this point, I'm just here with it. So it's like you got all that debt and you have nothing really to show for it.
Right.
So now it's working on trying to get out that debt and working to get something better in life. So yeah, I agree. Sometimes it hurts when you don't know exactly what you want to do and you just have a vague idea and you just go and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go try to get this, so I can say I have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of things a lot of people don't understand. Doing these trade schools and stuff like that, like honing on your craft or something that you're individually interested in, can somewhat be more profitable than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we gotta don't look down on it. I think we just kind of look down on the trade, and it's the best. It could be the best route, and also financially feasible.
But the crazy part, Daryl, it never used to be like that as far as trade.
No, you're right.
Actually, you know what I'm saying? So
You're
we need
right.
to encourage people to explore that, you know? So, yeah. Because even
No, you're absolutely right.
yeah.
Absolutely right. It never used to be like that, and maybe it's more of a elitist thing that we just think we're too good for that. I don't know, but you're right. Trade schools never used to be like that.
One point though that I would like to talk about that Shamork said, and he said, I mean, I kind of get the premise, and I agree a lot with what he had to say about definitely having a plan and making sure that you're strategic. The one thing that I will say is though, he did say something about art degrees. I think that when children say, "Oh, I just want to be an artist," you've got to help to cultivate their mind to understand
Mhm.
what it encompasses and what all things you can do with that, so they can then take that and kind of figure out exactly what it is. Because to be an artist means you could do lots of different things. Do you want to be the person that's doing the graphic design because you want to be an artist because you like anime and you like, you know, animation? Like, what all is encompassed in that? So I think
Right.
that when we say don't push people toward things like that, I think we need to educate them about what that is,
And what areas they need to go into.
what is
Yeah.
in all those different things. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that I kind of would tweak
Yeah.
about with what he said is,
Right.
you can do art all you want, but look, this is also art. This is also art. This is also art. Where do you see yourself going? Or what specifically is it that you like about art that you want to be doing, so that we can kind of like help guide them into the
Right.
direction to get to a
Right.
degree? Because we have too many people that go to college and they're like undecided until what? Like their junior year?
Yeah.
Right. Or you don't want people to pick a degree just because they think it's financially feasible and they're not happy.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that back up because I didn't want that's not that wasn't my intention in terms of what I was trying to say. I will it will almost because at the end of the day, if I have children, because I feel like they would be in a better position than I am. If they want to truly pursue that direction, then like to your point, I want to give them all of the opportunities in terms of this is the direction that you want to go and stuff like that. I was just more saying I felt like for me, and this could be personally, if I truly and even my wife, if like for example, Shanita says as a child that she was interested in design. And but because it wasn't looked upon as something as something that's profitable, she was forced to go in a different direction of what she initially wanted to do. And then for me, I just felt like that wasn't even anything that I can actually pursue because I felt it because it wasn't something that would financially benefit me in the future. But with my child, I would hope that, and this is with most races, I feel like they have the opportunity to pursue those dreams because they have the financial background there to support them. So for me, I will hope that I'm in a financial position to allow my child to pursue whatever dream they want to do, regardless of what that may be. So they won't have to accrue debt because I will be able to provide them the resources for them to do that freely without having to worry about taking care of student loans. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and this was a great conversation. We're gonna end it here. I think it was a lot of jewels. The digital.com, Ross brought up the Capital One. I did Credit Karma. I think it was a lot of jewels that we can take back. I know I'm gonna look at that digital.com and hopefully people learn financial and just a mind frame of finances. Shar, you want to take us out on our social media? Are we doing this right now? Are we
Okay.
gonna do this?
Oh Lord, let me get together. Okay.
Why are you not ready? Like,
It's like every week.
like, why don't you write it down?
I keep forgetting, man. It's like I'm sorry. Okay, follow us subscribe to our YouTube channel at Less of a Man Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram at Less of a Man Podcast. On our streaming platform, we are on Spotify at Less of a Man Podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts at the same name. We have our website www.lessofamanpodcast.com. We are on Anchor at Less of a Man Podcast, and I think we have everything covered. Did I miss?
I think we have everything covered. You're terrible at this, but
Did I miss anything?
no, I think you got everything. You're just
All right. Okay,
just choppy.
Good.
It's just too choppy. It's not smooth.
Right.
So that's gonna be it for us. Any closing words for you guys? Nope.
Nope.
So we'll see y'all next time. Peace.